conviction. Congressman Brad Sherman, thank you for being patient with us. This is really whether one is a fan of Donald Trump, which he has many, or someone hates Donald Trump, which there are many, no matter which side of that you are on that spectrum, and it's a huge spectrum when it comes to Donald Trump, this is a very sad day for this country. It's a good day in terms of justice. You can make the argument, I suppose, that, you see, no one is above the law. But politically, it's a sad day, isn't it?
It's sad that we're so divided as a country. On the other hand, I was the first to submit articles of impeachment against Trump back in May and June of 2017. He ultimately was impeached twice, but not convicted by the Senate. And it's good to see him finally held accountable for one of his many illegal lies. As to, we're going to have to see what impact this has. The real verdict is not today. The real verdict is on November 5th. And I fear that we've gotten so divided as a country that for a lot of people, it's, well, who's our guy? Well, that's who we're going to back, regardless of what he or she has done. And I'm hoping that there's a middle of the country that says, hey, wait a minute, we have a choice between a convicted felon and somebody who has not been convicted of a felony. That should matter.
Mr. Sherman, you touched on something there. There is this current of tribalism in American politics today. Can our system of government survive? Can democracy survive when each side has formed its own tribe? There is no room for any compromise anymore. You see with them, wanting to oust Speaker Mike Johnson for daring to sit down and make any kind of deal with the Democrats. Or Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted him removed from the speakership for that. If there's no room for compromise, how do you get things done in Washington? And this is something that I know you face every day.
We have been able to get done the bare minimum. We've kept the government open. We haven't dishonored and defaulted on the national debt. But Washington is quite divided. I think our institutions are strong, and I think our judicial institutions were strong today. But clearly, our institutions are being tested, and the next step is going to be to see what is the sentencing that the judge imposes, and whether that sentence is suspended. We could be everything from the judge just imposes probation, and I think that will cause people to think this is no big deal, all the way, and I don't think it goes this far, to Trump being at Rikers Island in the next week or two.
Well, do you think, Congressman, that now that he has been convicted of these crimes, do you think he should spend time behind bars?
I think the charges are serious enough for at least a short sentence. I am not a New York lawyer, let alone a New York criminal lawyer, so I don't know what has been the typical sentence for conviction on this particular crime. And I don't also know whether there's the practice of New York courts to allow him to be out on bail or on his own recognizance while he appeals, because obviously when he pays millions of dollars for lawyers, they'll find something to appeal.
The Trump campaign has just sent out essentially a fundraising appeal saying that he is a political prisoner. Your take on that?
Well, he's not a political prisoner if he's walking the streets of New York. But it's odd to think that people should be more dedicated to his candidacy because he's a convicted felon. We should have some respect for the rule of law in this country. I think I expect the press will do some analysis on the individual jurors, because there's this sense that, they all 12 must be dyed-in-the-wool Democrats because they're from southern Manhattan. In any randomly selected group from that area, you're going to have some Republicans as well. And I think that the country's more likely to accept this verdict if the jury involve people of both parties. Not that should matter, but I think it will politically.